Hi, welcome to Zoom Around Town. My name is Jaimi Jansen, and today our special guest is the one and only Taylor Boone. Welcome, Taylor.
Well, thank you for having me, Jaimi.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
absolutely. Yes, of course. So Taylor is an amazing photographer. I've had the pleasure of being a subject of hers. And lately I've been seeing a lot of what you're doing on the internet, and you're doing a lot of products. Is that right?
I am. I did a little pivot when COVID hit.
So tell me about how, like, what's in the background there? I am so fascinated by all the gear that you have.
Lots of gear, and it's gear that I've always had doing photography and video. And then when COVID hit and realizing a lot of the studios closed down, there was nothing going on, but I still had clients that needed product shots, product filmed. So I made a little space in my house, in my backyard, and started creating in place and making product videos and photos. So that's opened up another beautiful door for myself and the team to get creative with products, because again, we don't have a subject that we can tell what to do or how to pose. We've got to figure out how to make this thing, sometimes a flat thing, interactive and enjoyable and fun to look at. So I wish we could share more of the stuff. We create a lot of stuff and we can't ever share it due to the contracts we signed, but it's been fun to sneak a little bit out when we can.
Yeah, it's awesome to see what you're doing. So tell me, how did you get started in photography, and what inspires you?
Oh my gosh, I started photography when I was 13, and a lot of it came from just struggling in school. I was deaf for a couple years, so not hearing, and having surgery after surgery and being pulled out of school for those surgeries. And I was 13 when I was really struggling, and I had an amazing English teacher that had my parents test me for being dyslexic. And once we figured out what was going on there, all the art teachers I had all of a sudden started surrounding me, like, use your voice, use your talent as being an artist. And so it really started when I was 13, and I thank God today for that, because it's been my life. It's been my profession for over 20 years. I can't imagine not doing. I'm constantly taking photos in my head. And my family, I drive them nuts when we watch movies, because I'm like, did you watch that shot? Did you notice the emotional leverage they did with sound to get you to lean forward? And it's all the things I think that art is, right? It's beauty in its vision, it's beauty in its sound, it's beauty in its emotion. And then to be able to pick up a camera and see something in a subject they can't even see, and then photograph that and show them later, like, this is what we see. This is what all your family sees. This is what your friends see. This is beauty, this strength, this courage. Because we forget to even look for it in ourselves. So long
Definitely.
story, but I love photography. It's always going to be a passion of mine.
Well, that's good that you get to work in your passion. That's awesome. How did COVID affect your ability to take photographs? I mean, I went to a photograph thing at the Museum of Art History for the fires, and they had us wearing masks, and so much of expression is in your lower half of your face. So how have you been able to work around COVID and still be able to do photography of people?
A lot of it is, I don't know if you can see this big lens. It allows me to have 10 to 20 feet between my subjects, so I'm safe. I keep a mask on. I bring all the COVID protocols with me as far as sanitation, wipes, masks, hand sanitizer. But that lens allows me to have the space so my subject can take their mask off. And what I've noticed using, and again, this is a big lens I don't typically use a lot for my portrait work, it's allowed a little bit of a space between my subject and I, so their guard's almost down. They feel like, okay, she's so far away. Is she even really taking my photo? Am I really even in that shot? And I've been using a lot of plexiglass. I have clients that can't be next to each other. We put plexiglass in between them, photograph them, Photoshop the plexiglass out, or we have them come in one at a time, stand in one spot. We photograph them, tape that spot, have someone else come in and stand where they would if they were actually in that room with them, and then do a composite and put the photos together so they all look like they're in the same room, but they're not.
Wow, that's so creative. I never even would have thought about that.
Yeah, and I'm grateful. Annie Leibovitz started doing it years ago when she started doing the big Vanity Fair covers. So, when the Oscars come out, there's that big Vanity Fair that's like 3 pages, you unfold it. None of those actors could be there at the same time. And so she started sharing that on social media and on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So I started watching that, and I'm grateful for that because I was able to adapt that same philosophy into our photography. So we're still shooting on site. We're still filming in person and being completely safe. We started filming back in person in May. So
That's awesome.
we've adapted.
Yeah, and really well. That's amazing. Have you noticed that people are afraid to get in front of the camera, or they're excited to be shown, or how have you, like, how has your business been, and are people like not realizing that they can get photographed? Or
A lot of them aren't realizing that we're open. And I'm guilty of this. I'm really good at preaching it for other businesses to do this, but it's so important right now more than ever to be shown that you're open. If you are open, if you're limiting the people in your store or your facility, you need to show that. Everybody's scared. And if you've lost somebody, I've lost 9 people to COVID. So I know the devastation this virus can bring, but there's ways around it. And it really is keeping everybody safe, social distance, wear a mask, but showing that so that if I'm on social media and I see your business is open and you're taking the extra 15, 20 minutes in between clients to keep the place clean, you're wearing a mask, you're making your staff wear a mask, whatever those protocols you're doing, give me peace of mind and make it so much easier. I know the businesses I've even had to consider going to them, like, hey, am I okay to go get my hair cut? Am I going to be safe? And when they started showing all the things they were doing, I was like, okay, that gives me peace of mind. I can go back and have Mona cut my hair.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and that's nice because then they're getting revenue. I mean, that's really been a challenge for a lot of businesses these days.
It has. And I believe that we just kind of all have to shift in this. There's a shift going on in the world and the planet. And I think it's figuring out what to do. And I love seeing a lot of the clients I work with figuring that out. Like, what is my next thing? What is the next thing we can be doing to generate revenue, keep our doors open, keep our employees, and I love just sitting down with the business and having that conversation. Like, what can you do with your cell phone today to create that message, to build up your marketing dollars so that you have marketing dollars to come hire myself and my team to come in and do a bigger marketing piece for you. But it's, Steve Jobs created our smartphone for a reason, to do video, to do photography, to do video, so that we could all do that from our phone, because it's all storytelling, right? It's being in front of someone and telling your story. So it's more important than ever right now for businesses to be doing that. Social media, picking up our phone is all increased. So be in front of your audience.
That's really, really good advice. Do you recommend one over the other as far as photo or video, or do you think that both are equally important, especially now?
I think they're both definitely equally important, for sure. Video is, if you do video right, now mind you, we swipe for a reason, right? We swipe when something doesn't engage us. And if to engage somebody, you've got to strike an emotion. It could be funny, it could be heartfelt, it could be a struggle, but it's got to be relatable. So, I always have a pet peeve: strike somebody in an emotion, hold the phone the right way. Don't hold the phone down here, shooting up the nose and 5 chins, and think someone's going to watch that video.
Like this?
Right? Exactly. And I have a PDF I send all my clients. If anybody watching this wants the PDF, they can email me and I'll give it to them for free. But it's just little simple tips. It's the simple tips that a lot of these bigger TV shows like Shark Tank, when you want to submit a video, it's the same criteria they want. So following that criteria that a big, network wants on your phone to your audience is only going to leverage open doors.
It's true. It's absolutely right. And people can't even consider you if you don't have, if you don't put a face to your name, and if it's not presented properly, you're just missing out on an opportunity.
You are. And I think the other thing is businesses need to collaborate more. I think we've all been so afraid to share our secret sauce, with somebody else. When it comes down to it, Martha Stewart and I can be given the same recipe, have the same ingredients, have the same stove. It's not going to taste the same. You're going to want to eat mine. You're going to want to eat hers. But it's the same thing, right? It's find those businesses you can collaborate. Like what you're doing is finding businesses that you can showcase, shine some light on. But again, if we can all get through this together, we really can. We just got to go arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, and really help each other out.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. How do you think that the holiday shopping is going to vary? And do you offer any like holiday specials? And do you like, would you do stuff mostly outside for families, or are you just wearing a mask and going inside, or what do you think?
I'm kind of doing everything. So we're going to drop something special for that Cyber Monday. I'm not going to share what, but we will drop a special deal for Santa Cruz businesses. But we go in. I've got two shoots tomorrow. One's outside, one's indoors. So it kind of varies on the circumstance. But again, I'm always masked. I always ask no one touch my gear. I handle it. I move the 200 pounds of gear needed for all this stuff by myself. And I ask for them to keep their distance and to keep everybody safe, because at the end of the day, I want to be around to get this video done or this production piece done for them. So it's just do our parts to keep each other safe.
So what would be the one thing that you would recommend for local businesses if they are new to video or photography? What kind of a thing would you really recommend that they hire you for? Is it a headshot? Is it a introduction to the place if they have a brick and mortar? Or what do you think is like a must have?
It really honestly depends on the business. So one of the things we like to do is have a meeting, figure out from that first meeting, like, what are their needs? What is their ultimate, like, if you didn't have a budget, what would you want to walk away with today? And figure out what that bigger piece is and go, okay, big meal, right? That's your big 7-course meal. But what's your appetizer? What can we start with that's going to fit your budget today to kind of grow that market? And most of the clients I work with, like my client have product in the back. I've worked with her for 10 years on several different, adventures, but it's figuring out what do you need today to kind of get the door going, so you're generating money so that we can keep adding to those market dollars and kind of grow what we can create. So that really varies on what the business needs. The other thing my team and I look at is we go into the business and look at what holes they have. So what holes do you have on your website that you need to fix? What holes do you have in your social media that need to be fixed? Because bottom line, we don't want to come and create content and have it go through those holes, right?
Hmm.
We've got to figure out what those holes are, fix them, and then create the content that can really stick. And then testing. We do a lot of testing with markets and figuring out. A lot of us think we know what our market is. We know who our avatar is. And when we get in there and start doing the data, we realize, oh my gosh, my client's actually over here. And I've been marketing this direction, and making that one shift. Also, the marketing dollars grow because the business is having higher revenue.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you do a lot more than just photography. You do video, right? You help people with video. Is that right?
Pardon me, you broke up.
Oh, you do video also for the businesses?
We do. We do photography and video. And again, it can go from headshots to branding session to product session to both to lifestyle.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, but you definitely have a knack for business. And so you are much more than just a photographer or a videographer. You bring it that one next level. You have that plus one to the customer. So like you said, you're really helping to figure out what is missing so that you can really add value to that business. So is that an initial interview that you do, or how do you determine that? And I mean, I know that you read a lot, so I'm taking it that you take some of the information that you read in branding and marketing, and you're sharing that with your clients. Isn't that right?
I'm definitely taking that information and bringing it in, but I work and I collaborate with a team. So there's a team of us kind of figuring out, okay, what do you need? And what do you think the business needs? I kind of feel like they need this, and kind of creating that true collaboration, and then finding out who they have on their team to actually collaborate with, who's their right hand. Because I think as business owners, we get too much in our head of what we think we need. So I always say, who's your right hand next to you that doesn't have your perspective? Because you're going to come at it one way, and really leveraging them. And I mean, we go down to even surveying the employees and figuring out, if it's, what do they think? It's interesting when a company's willing to look at that information, because I think as employees or staff come forward with their voice, the true collaboration just starts to unfold. It inspires my team and myself to figure out, okay, we can actually do this. And what if we take this angle? There's one company that everything they were doing was about the equipment. It was nothing to do with the actual people. But when we found out, it's all employee owned, how many engineers were on site in this facility, I was like, that's the story. And, and showcasing that, and then talking to some of the other team members and finding out, yeah, I've actually been here for 30 years and this is awesome that I'm now part of the story, knowing that they've been a part of the story all along. So there's just so many variables that I think as businesses we have to look at, and we have to step outside of our own perspective, because I know I look at my business with so much, but when I bring somebody else in, and one of my editors, Holden, is amazing because he has this oversight of looking through the glass and looking through the wall. Like, he just has this vision where he's like, you know what, let's go here and let's stretch to go this direction. And it's a direction we would have never considered. So true collaboration, I think, is key, not only with the business, but with my team, and really coming together and saying, okay, what can we do collectively? And I think that's what's awesome about Zoom right now. You can have 150 people in the meeting and get everyone's perspective on what needs to take shape. And then creating a storyboard from that really drills down a nice message.
Oh, that is a really good silver lining and perspective in this whole COVID pandemic that we're in. Zoom and the way that we can collaborate where we couldn't maybe before, given distances and all of that. So are you having people come to your house and do shots, or is it mostly for product?
So yeah, product is shipped to me here, and I'll rent studio space depending. Most of the stuff I've been shooting, I want to say the last 3 weeks, is all small stuff. CBD, wellness products, so it's small, so I can do tabletop shooting. If we need more space, I use Gather in Santa Cruz for space. If we need a bigger studio space, or studio spaces we can rent. And truly, about 80% of it is on site. I think a gnat flew in my mouth. That was truly a backyard experience, having a gnat fly in my mouth. Sorry.
No worries.
But like, I would say 80% of it is actually on site at the actual business.
And that gives you a really good perspective as to the type of vibe and brand they are when you get to go on site.
Right.
Awesome. If you're just joining us, this is Taylor Boone with Taylor Boone Photography, and we'll be right back after this little break. Hi, this is Jaimi Jansen. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Zoom Around Town. If you want to feature yourself or your business on our video cast, email me at jaimi@jaimijansen.com. Give me a call, area code 831-316-9045. Check out our website for more podcasts at jaimijansen.com, and follow us on Instagram at Jaimi Jansen. And now, back to the episode. Hi, welcome back to Zoom Around Town. My name is Jaimi Jansen, and my special guest today is Taylor Boone, photographer extraordinaire. And she also does videography and has a whole team of creatives to work on your branding needs. Taylor, can you let us know, what is your favorite type of shoot to do lately?
Oh my gosh. I think branding is still always going to be my favorite. Now that I think about it, there's the interaction, right? It's the interaction of taking a brand and figuring out, what does the audience need to see from your brand? What story do we need to tell in those photos? So that's always going to be my number one favorite. And I love being able to do that in video as well. Figuring out, okay, is it photography, is it video, or is it both? And bringing those elements together. And I don't think I could ever get tired of that, because every business is different. And there's always that secret thing they have. They don't think it really matters, right? It's like, oh, does anyone really need to know that? And it's the instant love factor, right? It's like, as soon as I know that, I love you. I love your brand, and whatever you are selling, I want. You know, I go back to Drew Barrymore. How many people can look at Drew Barrymore and they can find something to love about her? And it's like, whatever she's standing behind or doing. Oprah, the same thing. It's that love factor. So it's finding what that love factor is in your business that can cause the outside audience for the first time seeing it to fall in love, or if they've been a client or a customer of yours, to reinvent that. What I'm trying to say is relook at that relationship they have with your business and fall back in love with it.
Well, that's good. So how would we go about booking a session or getting in touch with you? What's your website? What's your Instagram?
So it's Instagram and Facebook is one Taylor Boone. So just the number 1 and my name, Taylor Boone. And website is taylorboone.com.
Oh, that's easy. What was one of the most nerve-wracking shoots that you've done?
I haven't done anything with a volcano or a helicopter lately, so and I'm fine if that doesn't come up in the next 5 years. Um, you know, it is. We were just talking about that. I was talking about how certain scenes are filmed and how you have to hang out of the helicopter and you've got this, 40-pound camera gear and you have to hang at a certain angle to get that shot. And I've never done that. And a part of me wants to do it and a part of me is fine if I don't. I have to say, honestly, that's a question you really made me think. I haven't had anything really to figure out. I think the hardest part was for me internally to feel okay going on site with a shoot. And one of the first shoots I did after COVID was 30 people. And I had that whole paranoia fear of, am I going to get sick? Is anyone else going to get sick? Figuring out what we had to do to keep everybody safe, how to photograph each person one at a time when they would leave. And that truly was the only time I felt like I had to overcome something. And I realized it was my own internal stuff that I had to overcome of, okay, wait a minute, I can get through this. I know what I need to do to keep myself safe. I know what I need to do to keep my clients safe. And I just have to exercise that. And, now it's second nature. I feel awkward if I don't have my mask on.
Right. It's true. Do you feel more comfortable now using the larger or I guess it's a longer lens, or because this is having that longer lens, you said you create more space between you and the client. Do you prefer it? Do you think it's better? You were saying that they were, maybe people feel a little bit more relaxed, or is it harder for you because the lens is longer, the way that you move it or angle it has to, is a lot different, or?
I think because there's more space between us, I'm used to touching my clients. I'm used to able to, I've done a shoot with you where I have to walk up and put my hands on your shoulder and be like, okay, we've got this. Like whatever chatter you've got going on inside your heads, it's got to stop. It's not real. And I'm so used to touching, right? I always feel like I had to have that connection of, let me touch your shoulder, your elbow, and look eye to eye. I'm still able to do that. I still have 6 feet between me and that person, but I'm still able to see when their wall's up, walk away and say, hey, what's going on inside? What tape do you have on loop right now? And I'm going to ask you, does that tape serve you right now? You just spent, a chunk of change to have me here. Are we going to leave with what you want? Or is that tape going to interfere? Because I can't eject that tape. You have to eject it. And there's one client I recently worked with, we're having that conversation and she stopped and she's like, why does that tape even start?
Yeah.
Right? And she's like, who hit play? And I'm like, exactly. It's as soon as I pick up my camera, there's, oh my gosh, now you're really going to see me, when it's like, I already saw you before I picked up my camera. So I know who you are, but there's a tape we start immediately that I have to, and I'm grateful that I can still have that connection. So I think I just have to realize I can't touch them. And I've even told them, like, this is when I would touch your shoulder or hug you. So hug yourself for me right now and just eject the damn tape, throw it away. Don't ever listen to it again. If it starts to play again, just ask who hit play. If I didn't hit play, it doesn't need to be on loop. So eject it. And that's been the hard part because I am such a hugger and I love loving all my clients after I'm done. So that truly has been the hardest thing of when we're done, I just want to grab them and be like, you did this, you cross this off your bucket list. You stressed out, planned for a month and it's done. So that's probably the hardest part of all of this is I do want to love on it. And when I'm done, I've made a list. I'm going to run up to all their doors and knock on it and be like, hey, we owe a hug to each other. Let's do this.
Mm. That's one thing that's so great about you as a photographer is that, I think you just hit on your magic, yes, you have the ability to like go and see a brand in a new light, but really it's how do you get the person to be the best version of themselves in front of the camera? And I think because of that loop that people have in their head, they have a really hard time. And it's great that you're able to kind of overcome that and help the client overcome it and kind of break down that wall so that we get to see the essence and being of who that individual or brand is in the best light possible and see their authentic self. And that's, unfortunately, we have all these belief systems about ourselves that aren't really that, true. And so it's amazing that you can take the time in your session to really see the person for who, you know, have them see themselves for who we think they are. You know what I mean? Like, it's so often in our head, not in the viewer's head. And it makes all the difference
Right.
from a fake smile to a beautiful, authentic smile.
Right. And I think it comes down to just asking someone, why did you do this? Like starting that conversation, why did you start this business? Because again, doing this for 25 years, I've never come across a business, even if it's a big corporation that has 100 employees or 1,000 employees, when I ask that one person that started it, why did you start this? It's always something emotional. They always get choked up. Like, gosh, no one's asked me that in years. You know, I started this company because of this, and I wanted to solve this problem. And kind of taking, you know, I call it the ninja approach of going, forget there's a camera there, forget that I'm here to photograph you. Let's go back to that why. Why are you doing this? And let's stay there. Let's keep our mindset there, because that's where I'm going to get the emotional photo from. And that's, I love that afterwards, they're like, oh my gosh, that's the photo that we had that conversation. And that one, my walls are down. I see me. And I'm like, exactly. And that's what we all want to see in a brand, right? We want to see who's behind. Why did Oz become Oz? We wanted to see who was behind the green curtain. You know, and I think as a business, even if we have a brand, we forget that we have to be in front of that. We want to buy and support and like companies that we know it's not just this machine making the stuff and throwing it out for the consumer. We want to know that there's a person attached to it and what their why is. And, you know, what got them up 20 years ago to start a company.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that's your magic, and that's amazing. Um, what would be a piece of advice that you would give to somebody who hasn't done a lot of video or photographs, you know, professionally? What advice would you give them?
My first advice is start small. Like if you can't afford it right now, start using your phone. Go to YouTube, look up some videos, hit me up for that free PDF. Figuring out, and then this is key, and I'm so guilty of this, so I'm confessing. Get out of your own way. So make a plan. Today I'm going to get up and I'm going to talk about X, Y, and Z. And when you get up and you start having a million excuses, you wake up with a zit, you wake up with your hair not being a good hair day, whatever that is, stop. It doesn't matter. Get your phone, get your tripod, set it up, and then just do the video and start doing and keep doing and just throwing it out on social media. You don't have to watch it. Just throw it out there, catch and release, right? I caught it on camera. I caught it on my phone. Now I'm going to release it. And keep doing it. And you're going to find that you're going to get your message drilled down. You're going to get it smaller. You're going to get it more bite-sized, consumer friendly. And just keep doing it and watch your client base grow. And then when you can afford, research people, you know, interview. When I did my first video, gosh, I hired 2 videographers to do videos for me. Both of them missed it completely. Didn't get what I wanted. I sat down and interviewed 9 videographers. And the one guy that I really thought, he's not going to get it. He's from the boxing industry. You know, he's just not going to get that. I like telling emotions in my work and telling that story. And he went to leave and he stopped. He says, you know, he showed me his sizzle reel. He turned around. He says, you know, I think I know what you really want. And showed me another part of his sizzle reel. And it was all very emotional. He traveled with a doctor to India to show what she was doing over there to help kids that were born with obstacles to overcome. And how he filmed that was from the kid's perspective. So everything he filmed, he was at a lower angle. And watching just 3 minutes of his video, I felt like I was with those kids. And I was like, you get the emotional connection, right? You know, a movie. Just think of the most recent movie you've seen or TV show where there was that emotion piece where you were like, and then stop and go, what was that? What hit me? And how can I do something like that in my own business? What risk am I willing to take today just to try that with my phone and convey that? And then just get out there and do it and interview. I'm not the right videographer or photographer for every business. You know, we're going to date for a while, and then my goal is to be in a long-term relationship with you and that you keep coming back to our team. So that's not for everybody, but I always say, let's sit down and talk, figure out if we're a good fit. If we're not, I have other photographers to refer to you. I have other people that might be a better fit for what you need. But it's first of all, just use your camera, get out there and do it. Stop finding your list of excuses and start telling people what you do and why you do it.
That's awesome. Great advice, Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us today. And can you let us know again how we can get in touch with you?
One Taylor Boone on Instagram and Facebook, and taylorboone.com for my website.
Please follow One Taylor Boone on Instagram and Facebook, and go check out her website and message her on her website to get that PDF so that you can learn about how to be a better photographer for yourself. Thanks so much for taking the time today, Taylor. We are so grateful to have you on our Zoom Around Town.